There have been a number of attempts to subdue the media that came in the recent past in various forms. One of the main promises given by the new government that came into power through the 8th January revolution was that media freedom would be ensured. However, as we speak, there are efforts to undermine this promise.
A document titled The Independent Council for News Media Standards is currently in circulation. Consultations and discussions regarding the draft of this document are already underway under Toby Daniel Mendel, a British and Canadian national, and Dr. Pradeep N. Veerasinghe. The draft has been prepared by Vijayananda Jayavira, who is presently working as the World Bank consultant to the government of Sri Lanka. The document, which claims to safeguard media freedom and has been dubbed a first discussion draft, contains a number of eyebrow-raising points. According to the document, the Independent Council for News Media Standards will be headed by a retired judge or a lawyer. In addition, the council is to be vested with powers to hold inquiries into violations of the codes of practices adopted by the council and issue decisions in case of complaints. The council will not be subject to liability, civil or criminals, in a backdrop where even the executive president of this country has proposed the removal of the immunity before the law. All news outlets need to be registered with the council, with a spokesperson and an editor-in-chief being named during the registration. Such news media outlets are also expected to make a payment to the council. The bill also grants the council powers to call for any information held by a news media outlet and also calls on any journalist to produce any information in their possession. Any news media outlet that refuses to comply with the council could face a fine of up to 1 million rupees. In addition, any journalist who intentionally provides false information or fails to appear before the council when required could face a fine of up to 100,000 rupees and a 3-month imprisonment following a trial. Toby Daniel Mendel, who is involved in the creation of this document, is an individual who works closely with International NGO, International Media Support or IMS, which previously employed current Director General of Government Information, Dr. Ranga Kalansurya, as a consultant. Toby Mendel currently serves as the Executive Director of the Centre for Law and Democracy, which aims to promote, protect and develop human rights. Ranga Kalansurya and Toby Mendel have worked closely on numerous occasions.
In Sri Lanka also, we all accept that media need ethics and ethical practices. But what is happening now is that there's a process which is secret, is being launched by the Department of Information in collaboration with some small group of intellectuals and NGO to establish a media regulation body in Sri Lanka. We don't know who is behind this. This is a government initiative or a private initiative. Now recently a gentleman, actually Media Freedom Fighter International called Toby Mendel came to Sri Lanka to discuss this. Before such a discussion takes place, we would like Sri Lankan government, if it's a government agenda, to discuss with the media. Or it's a private agenda, then they should say that it's a completely private agenda. On the other hand, this process is supported by an organization called International Media Support in Denmark. This is an organization that Mr. Dr. Ranga Kalansurya worked, and it seems as someone else's agenda, someone else's need is being pushed through the government information department. We as journalists and we as media organization should ask government to come clean and tell us who is behind this. This is the government initiative. Then government should discuss with all the stakeholders. There has been no proper discussion with the stakeholders, media stakeholders, on this Self-Regulation Act. As a private initiative, they say that, and there is small discussions are held around the country by a small group of people, but the mainstream media has completely left out. Have an open discussion with all the stakeholders. Otherwise, it will be imposed. This will be state imposed regulation on media, and we know that any country in the world, if state is going to be involved in regulation of media, at the end of the day it will be a censorship.
We don't know who the real author of this document is. The government has not yet announced that such a bill has been prepared, and as individuals who represent journalist unions, we have not been called in for consultations. Why was this document created? Whose need is being fulfilled through this? We can see that the government is behind this bill because sometimes we are called to cover events regarding this through the media ministry. What we can see is that the NGO that calls itself the Media Reform Secretariat is taking this document around the country discussing it. How can legislation which affects the entire country be a project spearheaded by an NGO?
There were a number of efforts by the Mahinda Rajapaksa administration to suppress the media. There were proposals brought forward to establish an independent media regulatory commission, while numerous journalists, including Lasantha Wickramatunge, were gunned down. Journalists such as Poddala Jayantha, Keith Nora and Sanat Balasuriya were assaulted during the same time period, while the Depanama studio complex was destroyed using claymore bombs. The administration of Mahinda Rajapaksa fell from grace and ceded power. The administration that took over on the 8th of January 2015 promised to bring about numerous reforms. However, they too attempted to engage in the suppression of the media. Media suppression that was to be legalized through the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was halted due to a case filed by us. Is the present administration attempting to take another crack at suppressing the media through the so-called independent council which is being created in consultation with a foreign national?
The right not to disclose sources is the heading, but material in section clause 8 provides a basis for which that source can be tapped and source has to be revealed. It says only news given on a confidential basis to a news media has that qualification of not having to give the information. Otherwise, all other information can be disclosed, either if it has the confidentiality tag or if a High Court allows it, then it has to be revealed, and High Court can do it in very suspicious circumstances. Another very disturbing factor is the words used in this section has no legal meaning. For example, words like constitutional order. A constitutional order is not a word that has any definition even in the Act. Then there's alternative means of obtaining information needed. Now those words have not been defined or set out in details. I would recommend the entire media should stand up to a man and say, we will never reveal confidential source, whether it's confidential or otherwise, because that is the end of freedom of expression.